Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to the Ero F3 Championship. This is our round 15, and we're heading out to Mexico. My name is Webbo. I'm the regular F3 commentator here. Been with you the vast majority of this season, at least. And while we have already crowned our F3 champion, Konis, we have got what could potentially be a five-way battle for second, third, fourth and fifth in the championship. That's currently led by Edzak on 128 points. Just four behind is Pangrio on 124. Then another two behind is Bankst. Magic has 116 points and Pachuca 93. Any of those guys could end up at the lead of our championship. We've got some guest drivers today as well. McLaren look to be fairly likely to win the championship, though that's not confirmed just yet, on 350 points. On 238 is Ferrari, AlphaTauri 199, and the Alfa Romeos are on 144. Welcome to everybody who's already joined us in the chat. I hear a lot of discussion going on about Jacob, who's visiting from F5, but let me know his gamer tag. Hi to Wagner, to JD Bailey, to Andres. I welcome you guys. Anybody else watching who hasn't said hello, do so now and let us know who you're here to support. It's always good to know what kind of support our drivers have got. So we should have 18 drivers for you tonight. We were just hanging on for one latecomer who had a slight problem. Hey to Max, good to see you. Hey to JJ Dog or Luke, who's I think here to watch himself. I've got an Alpine heading out already, so we'll join that car on track shortly. The Circuito Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City is where we head out for today. Looks like Jet for the NRG team is the first one out on track. JD Bailey, thanks for that. That's very kind of you. Good to have engaged and fun guys along with the chat with us as well. Always good to have a good crowd to spice up the banter and and to enjoy the video with us. If you see something, I'm on my own today, so if you see something that I'm not tracking on the commentary, do feel free to shout up. Always good to have you engaged. Let me know what you're thinking of people's strategies or tyre setup, how the race is running. Very plain looking helmet on NRG's car at the moment. Just a Belgian tricolor and a white background. Jay Jodog has retired from the session, so that's not gone to plan at all for him, unless he's trying a first to last challenge and he's just put a setup on. But it's NRG about to attack his first lap. Luke says he is going to do a last to question mark challenge, so there you go, it wasn't accidental. So the long straight, we have NRG hitting VMAX very shortly. No tow this time out, and late braking around the 60-meter mark through into turn 1, 2 and 3, taken as a smooth transition. Now we have another medium-sized straight. Good opportunity for overtaking later into our coverage for you, but now it's all about nailing these corners one to another. Turns 4, 5 and again turn 6, very close to one another. Double right-hander turn 6 here, very patient, waiting on the throttle. And then we have our treacherous S's starting with turn 7, and we see so many drivers tripping over track limits through here and invalidating. Let's see what kind of rhythm NRG is in. It's a good one, perhaps leaving a little bit of margin there for his first banker, taking a wide entry line into turn 12 in the stadium, and now it's a very frustrating section of the track, just trying to hit all the marks, all the points and the apexes. And now again we see cars losing it on the exit at the final corner, the Peraltada corner. NRG at 1:15.6, our first time out there, and we've got a McLaren. Is that King just, I think, just starting his lap actually. So who else is finishing at the moment? Yes, Buffet, one of our unfortunately our latest latecomer of the coverage tonight, but Pachuca straight away with pole for McLaren. and this will help them seal that Constructors' Championship of 15.238. And we've got Edzak going into third place. Again, not quite what you'd expect from Edzak, usually a little bit quicker than that, so I think the speed to find is at Super Mug, just crossing the line. A 14.8 from Super Mug goes comfortably fastest in these first few runs. So some good lap times going in. I think there's a Red Bull having caused an issue. Potentially is that Giroud. Yeah, he's made a mistake on the exit of the final corner. That's going to carry on and cause issues all the way down. Miguel with a very slow lap of 37.802. Obviously had to back out, but Supermug holds the provisional pole from Pachuca and Bankst for the championship contending Ferrari team. Bankst P3 right now. Let's join some of our drivers actually on a lap, as Kaizachi, I think, has done his outlap now. Ivan Beloff has gone for medium tyres and wipes the car out. That is as spectacular an exit as you're likely to see in the first few minutes of qualifying. Ivan Beloff in the medium tyres, and it's out of this session. We'll start near the back. Pangrio has retired as well. Is he going for, was that a voluntary situation? I think it may have been. Giroud talking down his chances tonight. He's not going to be impressed that he's just been blocked by his teammate going into the S's. That will ruin the lap. But I think he's on his way back into the pits anyway. What about Black Wolf finishing up his lap in the Williams? Black Wolf for the line then. It's a P7, 116.366. You've seen the boss has added a poll as to who you think's going to win the race here tonight. So let's vote away. So yes, Jet is Jacob. Thanks for that, JD Bailey. Oh dear, indeed was the correct the correct sentiment. So Murphy then in the Alpine, another guest driver with us tonight. So Murphy using the apexes comfortably to make sure we're not hard on the throttle through the middle of the apexes, through the S's. It's very difficult. I think Pangrio's retirement was not deliberate. He says he's done the worst thing possible, so I don't think that was likely. Ivan Beloff not happy with himself. You can imagine the kind of words he's using at the moment in the Discord chat. A 15.582 is very much middle of the road, middle of our order so far. What's King up to? Is he actually putting in a lap here? He is on soft tyres, pushing through sector 2. A 56.290 for King. Needs to get up there with his teammate to try and secure this this Constructors' Championship for McLaren, although of course he'll be mindful not to get in the way of Pachuca's championship finishing order. King into P7 with a 15.670, a long way off Supermug's fastest time, but so is nearly everybody else so far. Only really Pachuca with a lap anywhere near. Maciek is pushing now on his first lap of his second stint. Medium tyres for Maciek. He's doubling down on that strategy. Make sure you fill in the pole, and make sure you've of course subscribed to the ERO channel. Lots of racing for you throughout the weekend, culminating of course in F1 tomorrow evening. And if you like the commentary, you can follow me on Twitter at WebORed5, where you'll find all the races I do going live on Twitter. The link is in the description on this online live chat. Sorry, at the very top. Maciek has unfortunately invalidated this lap, so this one's not going to be anything new or special. Let's join Saikel. And an invalidation, sadly for him. That's not going to help his efforts. Edzak on a lap, currently 1/10 faster than he's been before. Easing out the throttle through turn 6, now turn 7 comes upon you. Uses a large amount of apex, got to be careful not to overdo it. This looks pretty quick, maybe slightly reactive moment. There's Pachuca off track, just causing an issue, but thankfully he is through safely. Edzak then into the stadium, still positive, not a huge improvement yet. Mexico City, often a bit of a maverick track for our drivers. It's not always a predictor of form. Edzak P3. Pachuca has in fact retired from the session with that off. And let's see, Supermug unfortunately has invalidated. So Edzak jumping up to P3. Let's go down to Slimmy Cam. We've not seen him before this evening. May get some benefit from a distant tow at the car in front. Through the next straight at least. Murphy just navigating here. Very close to an invalidation. Murphy, sorry, Slimmy Cam. Murphy's getting out of the way, so Slimmy Cam cannot get a nice tow through there. 1/10 faster than he's been before. Currently a 16.7, the only successful medium runner who's currently on mediums at least. I know Magic's time was on mediums earlier on. Good to have 18 runners with us tonight. Always good to have a full field, especially a track that sees so many penalties and cars crashing off. So down to just 1/100th of a second faster now. Slimmy Cam, this one not looking to be particularly special for him. Giroud pops in a 7th fastest time. Like I say, Giroud very much talking down his chances tonight. But Slimmy Cam gained a little through there, and P12 on a 16.7 flat is the best time he can manage on this stint. Maybe it's time to consider a different set of tyres. Banks is running, but a little bit slower than he's been before. Miguel, I think, has had an issue potentially. Let's see how he can do it. Yeah, much slower lap, so possibly a charge lap for him. Murphy back on it, currently P6, but running slower this time out. Let's go back to Banks as he finishes up his lap. No, it'll be much slower, I think, on this one. Maybe, like I say, an early error, and he's gone round to complete another one. Jesper Fay goes in P2 in the Red Bull as we watch Murphy tear up the S's with a very quick trip through there. He's within sight of his current best time. A good trip through the stadium will definitely help him here. Into the final corner then, gently on the throttle, and away we go to the line. A small improvement, but not enough to jump up the order. What about Jet here? Let's watch with Jet. A lot of fans in the chat already. Interested to see how Jet is progressing, stepping up 2 leagues. Lots of short shifting coming out of turn 6. Big welcome to anybody just joining us. If you want to hear the championship situation, you can head back to about 5 minutes into the coverage where you'll see it's the first thing I talk about. So if you want to know where everybody stands. But we've also got some guest drivers here enjoying a run out in F3 today. Jet then, tiny sliver of oversteer, a good time, a good final sector, 3/10 of an improvement, and it's a P6 for Jet. Beautiful stuff. Where's Kaizachi up to at the moment? Now he's running a little bit slower than before. Looks like the front runners just waiting for an opportunity to get out and find some traffic free running. Banks is not on a lap right now. Black Wolf might be. Let's see, Black Wolf just starting a lap now. So, heavy braking into turn 1. Ooh, big wiggle on the way out of turn 3 for Black Wolf. JD Bailey happy with Jet's time there, but he says he thinks he's still left some time begging in the final sector. It was a good final sector for Jet, but perhaps JD Bailey knows more than we do as novices when it comes to the driving of Jet here. Black Wolf heading through the S's. That looked pretty clean, but he's not happy. I think he's just bailed out the throttle. Yeah, he's not confident on that lap at all. Maciek has finally put on some soft tyres and is on a run. That was so close. I'd love to see a replay of just how close that came to an invalidation from Maciek into the stadium section then. Currently P11, somewhat unexpected area of the grid for him to be. He doesn't want to complete that lap, sadly. Giroud, tiny amount quicker than he's been before on this lap. We'll try and catch Super Mug shortly. There's 3 minutes remaining and Giroud out of this one. So we can perhaps go and see where Jesper Fay is on his outlap, just beginning his outlap. And Super Mug just finishing his off. In fact, he's got out a little bit ahead of everybody else. Perhaps this is wise to try and get a traffic-free run. He's got a nice clear track in front of him, and he'll be hoping that no one comes out of the pits on this moment, and they haven't, so couldn't wish for a clearer track for Super Mug. There he is, maximum speed, late braking. Very short first sector, and immediately out of it. So he's got the opportunity here to just chill out and fix that lap, run through and do another one. But we'll join Edzak, who's the next one to attack this lap, potentially for the final run at least. And Edzak is slightly quicker than he's been before, and that would be enough to jump Pachuca here, who can't even defend his position. Pachuca in 4th has retired, I think, on the exit of the S's, where we see so many errors costing drivers. Edzak then going through the S's. He won't have been cost too much physically from Super Mug, but he might be looking that was a little bit clumsy. Edzak has invalidated as well. Come on guys, let's get a decent lap together at the end. Bangst has retired from the session. Bangst has had enough. He doesn't feel like he can go any faster this time. Jesper Fay then starting his lap. How was his run through the first sector? Not quite as good as before. He needs to find 2/10 to get himself on the front row, because Bangst has just popped in a 14.893, and he's so close to Super Mug. Jesper Fay possibly within range here, but not with a lap like that. Jesper Fay might have just cost himself a run, and Super Mug then has gone round and will go again. He will have scrubbed a bit of grip off those tyres, so he's going to have to give a bit of a margin, not treat them too hard through here. Again, very close to invalidating with a corner cutting angle through those apexes, but that's where you find those last few hundredths. Super Mug slightly over his time before, but within the margin of error. I think he's got the opportunity here to push. A new pole position from Miguel, a 14.654. That came out of nowhere. And Miguel, with 30 seconds left before the checkered flag falls, Super Mug makes a mistake. It's not going to happen for Super Mug. What about for Murphy? Murphy up to P5 on a 15.210. That's pretty good. Jet on the attack now. Will get a small tow from the back of Giroud. Will Giroud get out of his way? I know we've seen issues with traffic in the past. Jet may get away with this one as Giroud wipes out a bollard. Jet then will need to be careful on traction on the way out of the corner. Jet to the line, and it's P4 for Jet in the Alpine, a 15.059, very close to the front runners, but just not close enough. I'm not sure, is that just having a little word with Giroud there on track? Non-verbal communication, I suppose you could argue. King finishing out his lap, but he has invalidated, unfortunately. Maciek, slightly loose entry and an invalidation again. That one's not going anywhere. What can Slimmy Cam do as he comes out of the final corner? He's kept this lap valid. This one, boom, straight up to P9, and Slimmy Cam holding on where others simply couldn't finish their laps comfortably. So Slimmy Cam up to P9 in the Mercedes. I think Murphy is on his way round. He is. Miguel, though, it looks to be with the pole position as the checkered flag has fallen on everybody's timing screens. Miguel heading to the pits. He's happy with that one. Giroud, rather than apologising for getting in the way, has said, "Why would you start a lap behind me?" Interesting. Okay. Miguel, though, with the pole. Supermug in second place. Then Banks, Jet, Jesper Fay, Murphy, Pachuca, Edzak, Slimmy Cam, Giroud. And starting on free choice of tyres will be King, Saikel, Maciek, Kaizachi, Black Wolf, Pangrio, JJ Dog. And I'm afraid I didn't catch who was the final place, but we'll get there when we get our standings. JD Bailey says, this proves it's not F guys who are way too slow. Just I assume he means it's that Jet is just OP for his league. Anyway, Miguel for Spain for Alfa Romeo gets the fastest time of 14.654, which is nearly 2/10 faster than Supermug, who held on to that provisional pole nearly the entire session. Banks will start third. Jet for Alpine, then Jesper Fay. Murphy showing a good start for a good starting order for Alpine. Then the first of the championship leading McLarens. Pachuca is in 7th, followed by Edzak, Slimmy Cam and Giroud. Then King, Saikel, Maciek, Kaizachi, Black Wolf, Pangrio, JJ Dog and Ivan Beloff will all start on their own free choice of tyres, which could have a big advantage, especially if we run into some safety car periods, which has been having a habit recently of making a mockery of qualifying performances. So yeah, Giroud saying that he was being distracted by a car behind him on his lap, and Pangrio cheering on his Alfa Romeo teammate, who he's hoping that they can get some good points out of this one. Looks to be at least a dry start, and the result of the poll before we go to result of the poll here for who will get second place at the end of the season is Edzak 50%, Pangrio 20%, and Banks 20%, with Maciek only 10% of the votes supporting Maciek to get second place in the championship. We're on our formation lap. It looks like the drivers all sorting themselves out very nice and quickly for us, and actually we'll be done pretty quickly with this formation lap, so don't go anywhere. Nearly everybody choosing mediums in the bottom half of the field, but Pangrio has gone for that initial launch and to be on the lead strategy as well. So watch for Pangrio moving up through the start. We will probably be focusing near the front of the grid, but Pangrio with an opportunity here to try and secure that second place, with the best opportunity given to his teammate Miguel with that beautiful pole position lap. Ivan Beloff in 18th. JJ Dog and Pangrio will be seeing how far up the grid they can get right from the back. Then, because those three didn't manage to set times, then Black Wolf here in the Williams starting 15th. We have Kaizachi in the Haas in 14th place. Maciek, who is fighting for the Constructors' Championship positioning for Ferrari, one of our full-time drivers, with his teammate Banks all the way up there in 3rd. Maciek will be hoping to get a much better run out of this one than his starting order. Saikel in 2nd, Williams. Not a great qualifying for Williams, 12th and 15th. King guest driving in the McLaren. Konis' empty seat because Konis is off to go and see how he can do in F2, I believe. Giroud in 10th. The drivers just coming through the stadium now. Slimmy Cam 9th, Edzak 8th. We're going to have 36 laps of the Mexico City circuit for you coming up very soon. Pachuca, Murphy, Jesper, Jet, with all of his fan club here, or rivals, I'm not sure, ready to get going. Miguel will start on pole position from the outside of the entry into turn 1 and will be vulnerable all the way down this long straight to anybody getting a tow. And we've got Supermug alongside him and Banks just behind. The build-up is here. We see a green flag. It looks like we're about to go. The starting lights are up. And it's lights out and go for Ero's F3 15th round of the season in Mexico City. A good start for the front 3 or 4 cars, but it looks like Supermug with an opportunity here to try and get that tow. He's got the inside line, Will. The Alfa Romeo sweep around the outside. He does. He leaves a good racing room on the inside, but it's left, right, and the Mercedes of Supermug getting ahead. I think Banks is going to be using the tow as well to get up to second place, so not the best start for the Alfa Romeo, but he's on the outside now as Supermug. It leads away into the second sector. The Ferrari up there into second place, Alfa Romeo, and then followed by Jesper Fay in the Red Bull. Pachuca up 2 places already into P5. We've got Pangrio currently P11 with Maciek dropping back on those medium tyres. Pangrio's nearly got in front of every medium runner. Erzak has dropped down significantly at the start here, and they go through the S's for the first time. Supermug, Banks, Miguel, Jesper Fay, Pachuca, all very much within range of one another, and long may that one continue through our race. Looks like Miguel hot on those brakes. He's got the tyres right in the sweet spot, and despite the slightly tardy start, will be on the offensive. Banks though just 4 tenths behind. We've got Jesper Fay catching the Alfa Romeo ahead of him as well, and that what may well be the most likely move to come, as his gap drops and drops and drops, but it's very difficult. Looks like Miguel's got good top speed tonight, and that one's definitely one to watch out for. He should be able to recover those positions, all being well. There goes Pangrio up to P10 already. What a start for Pangrio on those fresh softs versus everybody's mediums, and he's made absolutely the best possible start to get himself up there, because in the next few laps the mediums will be a much better tyre to be on, but right now he's not far from the lead. He won't be too happy to see his teammate having dropped down 2 places, but the race is very young. We don't have DRS yet. We're heading into the stadium for the second time. Miguel looking pretty close here. I think Ivan Beloff is very close to JJ Dog down there as well. Those are our last starting cars, Ivan Beloff, JJ Dog, and we have Pangrio. Very different fortunes. I think Ivan Beloff has just had an issue coming out of or entering the 3rd sector. So who have we got making a move here? Nobody quite close enough. A bit further down we've got battling going on with Giroud, Murphy behind, and then Jet has dropped back as well. Jet not making a very good start really. In fact, Pangrio has made almost the opposite start to Jet. Jet down in 9th right now. So currently the Red Bull's doing probably the best out of the first phase of the race. Pachuca is close behind the other Red Bull though, up ahead here. Very difficult to follow another car through the S's. 3 tenths the gap between Banks in 2nd and Miguel in 3rd. That opens up through the S's, and they'll be hoping to try and close that back down again. And now, once they get out of this stadium section, we will see how powerful the DRS is on these particular track conditions. Supermug has successfully gapped Banks, and that will mean that Miguel is the first car with the DRS, and they saw it opening up as they crossed the line. You have to wait a long time to open that DRS on this start-finish straight, because of how long the straight is. Not quite close enough. Anybody on a move? Nobody quite close enough just yet. So Miguel with the first penalty of the leading group. King is the highest medium runner in 11th. Edzark dropping down to 12th, and Pangrio all the way up there into P10. Has kind of stalled there for right now, but presumably needing to harvest some energy for later in the race. I'm sure he would have spent a fair amount of ERS on those first two monster laps of his. It'd be great if Pangrio can show us a clip of his start, and if so, we'll try and link it in the description for you after the race. Some good grip on Murphy's car at the moment, as Supermug continues to pull away steadily from Banks. Not very fast. A penalty for Kaizachi comes up. Banks, Miguel, Pachuca, J-Dog, Black Wolf and Kaizachi all with penalties at this early stage of the race, and that's going to mean various permutations as the gap starts to open up towards the end of our race. Slimicam looks like he's going to be defending behind Jet, who's got some good top speed here. Miguel, I think, has just got by Banks. Apologies for missing that one. We were watching this battle down here, but Miguel has overtaken. I think Banks has had a big issue going through that first sector and has dropped down. In fact, he's left the session, so that must be a disco for Banks running on his AI, which explains why everybody was so much quicker through there, and it kind of took me by surprise. Slimicam close, but heading into a section of the track it's very hard to overtake unless you can force an error from the car in front. There you can see Pangrio impatiently waiting behind these fast starters. Another penalty for both Pangrio and for Miguel. Yes, Buffet now just a quarter of a second back from Miguel, so this should mean he will have an opportunity here as the DRS is enabled for him. Ivan Beloff with a penalty, and they're really adding up here. I'm a little disappointed to see so many penalties at this stage. This 1/6 distance, and we've got half the grid with penalties. Here comes Jesper Fay now with the DRS. This should be a fairly straightforward pass, and Miguel could either let it go and live to fight on, or he could fight and lose out to Pachuca potentially. So he just loses the car slightly on traction. That's going to open up an opportunity here for Jesper Fay, as the car in front, having made the pass, gets a second go of DRS down the short straight. Supermug 1.3 seconds ahead of these drivers. Looks like his pace is tailing off slightly here. I wonder if there was a small mistake or he is harvesting at this point. Jesper Fay, let's have a quick look, shall we, at the telemetry. Jesper Fay 51%, Supermug slightly less. No one as little ERS in the top group as Miguel, but it's a close run thing. Pangrio up to 7th, has got by 2 drivers on that lap. Pangrio, not only was he charging in the first 2 laps, he's going to make the 6th lap a bit of a special one too. Banks' AI dropping down, and it's a really awful race for Ferrari so far. Banks will be hoping to get a re-invite back in, as Maciek is having an issue as well. He's got a corner cutting problem, so obviously struggling there through the stadium, and it's gone wrong. Big sweep across the track from Giroud, trying to discourage Murphy from having a go. Slimicam gets by Jet just behind, so Jet qualifying pace not quite bearing out in terms of race pace. Around comes Murphy, the outside of Giroud. Giroud will typically fight hammer and nail to keep that place. In fact, Pangrio having a little cheeky go. He's right up the inside. Giroud closes the door through turn 6. Pangrio, slightly dodgy internet connection, might want to leave a bit of a wider berth to the other drivers, because that's how we could end up having pretty significant accidents. I did notice before the coverage that Pangrio's car his connection wasn't hot. Here he comes though into turn 12, and he's going to give Giroud short shrift. Giroud still has the inside line. It'll become the outside line for the next one, and the Peraltada. So Pangrio expecting to hold on here, though he's on the looser side of the track. Big oversteer moment. Is he actually giving up DRS? But that opens the door to Slimicam behind. Konis joins us. Brilliant stuff. Our champion in F3 to tune in to see how everyone's doing. Look at these guys battling it out. Late braking from Slimicam. Giroud really holding on here, but it's only a matter of time, you feel, as Pangrio gets an inside line, a bit of a switchback move. Using the DRS, has managed to get back up to 7th place. He's now got Giroud in his sights as the Alpine and Mercedes and McLaren commence battle behind. King now potentially, I think those medium tyres starting to come into their own against the soft tyres. King starting to move up the grid order, and he's enjoying the grip at the moment against these soft runners. The soft runners presumably now really hoping for a whoa, massive snap of oversteer from Slimicam, who wipes the car out into the barrier, is lost an end plate, and he's going to be forced into a pit stop here. He can barely get the car into the stadium without touching the barriers. So Slimicam almost certainly going to be a pit stop this time. Pachuca, though, from the lead group, is the first one into the pits. Giroud in the pits as well behind him, and Slimicam, yeah, with a change of nose, I'm sure. Out there on the track, though, King, as I say, enjoying the grip, enjoying the difference between the medium and soft tyre at the moment. Jet just recovers a place against him using DRS, and King runs wide and trips over the track limits. So Supermug on lap 9 leads from Jesper Fay by 2 seconds. 1.6 seconds further back is Miguel, and a huge gap has opened up between Miguel and Murphy, thanks to what was effectively Giroud running on a tiny amount of grip left in this one. Pangrio up to P5 from the back of the grid, and Jet in 6th, having just got back past King, then Edzak and Bankst. King, the lead medium runner off the start. Edzak gets another penalty. Take a look at the penalty situation on here. We've just got 2 cars with no penalties, and credit to Jet for staying with the drivers 2 divisions higher than him, and he's managed to hold on and not catch a penalty either. That should pay dividends later on, as Supermug and Miguel both pit together in on lap 10. There they come down the pits. That means Jesper Fay inherits the lead, and we'll go back through the order again once we've seen it all shake out. Miguel and Supermug in the pits. Will they get out ahead of their rivals from earlier? I think they will. Medium tyres, they're going for a single stop if possible, but that's going to leave them a 26 lap run on these medium tyres. Now that could be too much, so we'll see if that one bears out. I wonder if anybody has underfueled the car today expecting safety cars, and will have to be lifting and coasting later on. Looks like a defensive move from the Aston Martin there against Supermug. JJ Dog getting right in the mix of the battle for the de facto lead, and quite happy to hold up Supermug. JJ Dog not quite making a last to first challenge work at the moment, but certainly not the way Pangrio has, who's now in P3 after starting in the 3, starting together with JJ Dog in the at the tail of the field. Here comes Supermug with a lot of grip, but JJ Dog sweeps around the outside, keeps the inside in the stadium, and just holds up the Mercedes once again. Yes, Buffet's come in the pits. It looks like Murphy and Pangrio have gone on by again, and as has Jet down there, so it's super close at the front. Let's go up and see what the drivers are up to, as Pangrio with DRS. We've now got 4 drivers within DRS range of each other, and King has caught these so successfully. We'll see if the undercut works or the overcut works. I've seen both feature, but I do think this is more of an overcut circuit. Pangrio with the DRS gets around the outside, beats Murphy to the braking zone, and in to the lead on lap 11. Anybody have lap 11 in their predictions that Pangrio would be in the lead of this race. I don't think it'll last very long. I think he's going to be into the pits very soon. But what a successful first 11 laps for him. Chasing down second place in the championship. Probably relieved to be in a race that doesn't feature Konis this time out. But I know they've been very generous to one another. Good sporting rivals, Pangrio and Konis. And a little bit of a picture of what could have been if if Pangrio hadn't had work commitments getting in the way of racing. Pangrio making these tyres last beautifully, as have all the top three as they go on through this time out, and this will really help them later in the tyre life for the mediums and their quest to make this a one-stop. Slimmy Cam gets another penalty. Supermug getting up past Pachuca, I think, as he pits, and now he goes for a move on Cykel. Smoothly by on big difference of tyre, so that's really helped him in the traction phase. What about Jet? Is he able to make a move? Is there any real point as they come up to the pit stop window? Murphy and NRG Jet were going to have to pit on different laps because they're going to have the same pit box, of course, and the Alpines very close to each other on track. And on strategy, they obviously went for the same strategy, these two, which is not always straightforward for teammates to complete. King, closer than anybody has been before, down this rearmost straight on the track as they head to the stadium. King's just begging these guys to go in the pits and get out of his way, frankly, especially when they're going to drive that slowly. Jet really struggling through this phase. Is that Murphy in the pits? It's not. The guy's still staying out. 12 laps now. This is a brilliant run from the top three, but King comfortably passed almost before the DRS zone, and he'll get another load of DRS on his way out of turn 3. So up to P3 now. King, the lead most medium starting driver. Oh, big mistake from King just as it was all seeming to be going his way. Overexcited about finally getting by that driver and making a mistake. King dropping down behind Supermug and Pachuca. Cykel gets by as well. I wonder if J-Dog will be up there with the reduced momentum. What a shame to see King spin and out of that battle so clearly. I think possibly hit the curb too hard in turn 1 sorry, in turn 2, and it spilled him out onto the grass. I think that was what happened. JD Bailey. It was a big shame for King though. So gaps opening at the front. Pangrio 1.1 second ahead of Murphy. NRG Jet 2 seconds back. No one pits here, or do they? Pangrio, yes, in the pits. Pangrio from the lead, starting right at the rear of the field. Murphy inherits the lead. Jet and Pangrio both come in, so we'll get a really good idea whether today the overcut or the undercut is the one that works, because those two Alpines were so close to each other. Murphy was ahead of Jet and would have had the opportunity to go in the pits first, but they will try and run, as I say, a one-stop strategy. Murphy, the only driver at the moment here without a penalty. I think Jet still didn't have a penalty. And speaking of penalties, there goes one for Pachuca. No, Jet, still no penalty. Let's have a quick look at that. So 8 seconds for Supermug is going to cost him. 6 seconds for Pachuca. Everybody else on 3 apart from Kaizachi. Not for the first time this season have we seen Kaizachi with the most penalties of any other driver. So perhaps overdriving in the S's. That seems to be where it gets most of our drivers. And Murphy on his own in the lead at the moment. We'll see when he comes in the pits. It should be now. You can see his tyres already looking much the worse for wear. And just treating the car as gently as possible. Don't want to make a mistake at this most crucial moment. Getting into the pits. Can't win the race right now, but you certainly can lose it on dead tyres. Get down to the pit stop, the pit lane entry speed limit. Murphy in the pits. And let's go down and see where his teammate currently is. In fact, I think he's stuck in traffic. Jet 3.3 seconds behind Edzak, who has stopped Jet has put hard tyres on. He's not confident about getting the mediums to the end of the race. And looks like Murphy currently in 11th, just out of the pits ahead of Jet. So I think the overcut featured slightly there. Jet, oh dear, under braking, completely unforced error from Jet, just picks up his first penalty, and that just leaves his one teammate on medium tyres who has not got a penalty yet. Down in 11th and 12th, Alpine, after being in the lead momentarily. But we'll see how far into the race the medium tyre runners can get. Saikel, the race coming to him slightly at the moment here as he's catching King. As they go through the S's then, we're approaching halfway point on our race for you. No safety cars yet. Magic gets another penalty there. The penalty is absolutely enormous tonight from the grid. Just Murphy driving without one, and that makes that run look extra special. Edzak gets by Black Wolf, who I think is having a problem, is he? No. Just a little bit slow at the moment. Black Wolf struggling against the other drivers on much better tyres. It's Buffet now down the start-finish straight with the benefit of some DRS as he catches the AlphaTauri in front of Ivan Beloff. Fairly comfortable overtake there under the brakes. Good work. Good work. JD Bailey says, what's the total penalty situation? Well, you will have to count them if you're asking for the grid total, because I cannot promise to be able to do that, but here we go. 3 seconds apiece for everybody apart from Supermug with an 8-second, Pachuca with a 6, and then Maciek, Black Wolf, Slimmy Cam all on 6, Miguel and Kaizachi on 12 each. But just as I talk about that, Giroud gets another one, and I think he's already paid for one error in the pits. Giroud down in the last place of the track. He did have single lap pace, but perhaps his observations about his pace prior to the race will in fact be accurate. Wasn't expecting anything special out of it tonight. He said he's never played this track in this iteration of the game. Saikel then nice and close behind King, 6/10 as they head on into the next lap. Ivan Beloff got 15 complete laps out of those mediums before having to pit at the tail of the pit entry. That's why it's just clicked over to 16 while he was in the pit lane. Saikel then down to half a second. He'll have another go at DRS on the way through this short straight. I'm not sure it'll be quite enough on its own if he uses a little bit of ERS, or he's happy to just be behind. So we've got a complete mix of tyre strategies going on. As I say, Jet putting hard tyres on, his teammate putting mediums with an extra lap on the softs prior. So probably both trying to get a one stop out of this one, but we do have quite a difference. I think we're going to see a two-stopper from some of those fresh medium drivers at the moment, particularly around Slimmy Cam and Pachuca. Supermug out there in the lead at the moment. Just depends how much of a field spread they can generate before having to make that pit stop. Let's have a quick look at gap to leader while we watch these guys coming through. So roughly a 23 to 25 second pit window. We'll see the leaders, if they pit again, drop down back into the clutches outside the top 10, with it all to do at the end of the race. Here comes Saikel now in the Williams. Much better run here, and it's surprising that he didn't get it done before the braking zone. Maybe he gave that up knowing he had an opportunity next time out, but he's let the McLaren get away, and he's very vulnerable here to the Red Bull behind, who's actually got a better run out of the final corner, out of the turn 3, and he jumps down into the a nice clean overtake from the Red Bull of Yes Buffet, up to P4 now on soft tyres. Loads more grip at this stage than Saikel, who's on the oldest mediums on the grid. Saikel yet to stop, but he's up to P5 and having a good run so far. Up 10 is Pangrio, now up to 6th place, but likely on a two-stopper. I wonder, we'll see if he can stretch those mediums to the end. Next best start is King up 8 on his starting position. Saikel has yet to pit, so slightly flattered there by his gap. In fact, he stays out again. So the fact that he can get this many laps out of the tyres when the car was heavy is promising. Let's look at Jesper Fay making a move now on King. In fact, I think he's already passed him before the braking zone. Can't get a good camera angle for you, unfortunately, but he moves across to take the racing line, so he's confidently passed the McLaren Jesper Fay up to third now on these soft tyres, but will stop again, no doubt. Supermug leads by nearly 2 seconds from Pachuca. You're watching Jesper Fay, who's just got up to third, then King, Saikel, Pangrillo, Edzak, Murphy, Maciek and Jet now in 10th. Murphy getting by Maciek, who is in a Alpine sandwich right now on lap 19. We've got through halfway stage of the race. Outside the top 10 currently, and the points, Banks, Slimicam, JJ Dog, Ivan Beloff, Black Wolf, Miguel, Kaizachi and Giroud bring up the rear. But no one embarrassingly slow tonight. Nobody being in danger of being lapped just yet as the leaders come into the stadium. Dog with another penalty. These penalties are going to make calling the final few laps very difficult, so thanks for that, guys. I don't think I've seen a race with so many penalties for some time, but it is a track where that is highly likely. Let's go back to intervals so we can see who's looking likely. Pangrillo, in fact, on those medium tyres, very close here, but he's stuck in a bit of a DRS train. King has dropped behind Jesper Fay too far to keep the DRS, so he will be vulnerable. But while Saikel has the DRS and is moving around like that, it's not particularly sporting. Oh, Pangrillo having enough of that kind of treatment on track, dives down the inside of turn 5, successfully gets by. Saikel struggling on these tyres though, and demoted to 6th, but trying to get round and complete this one and make it a one-stop, I think. Pangrillo now into 5th place, less than a second behind King. Really, really good race pace Pangrillo has. Got a lot more grip than King as well. Probably get underneath him and past before he hits the DRS zone that he has already earned as well. So a nice easy pass for Pangrillo. He can go and clean up his tyres as well on the straight shortly. There he goes, back to the racing line and up to 4th. Currently 2 seconds behind Jesper Fay's Red Bull, whose tyres will be very past their best. Just 15 laps to go now in our race. Murphy in P7 on 0 penalties, and just bedding those mediums in. Jet's got by Maciek as well, so Maciek losing out. Ferrari's in 9th and 10th, so looking a little bit better for them at the moment, although I think Maciek yet to pit, similarly with King and Saikel. So trying to get to a one-stop strategy, but unfortunately this stage of the race is very slow for those medium runners. Pangrillo has halved the gap to Jesper Fay that he had crossing the start-finish line the last time before the lap's even out. Will he get into DRS zone? I think he might just do it. So Jesper Fay's car fading while, and there he goes into the pits, only managing 9 complete laps on those soft tyres. That doesn't show as a positive for those medium runners at the moment. Pangrillo up to 3rd, doing a great job currently. So Jesper Fay dropping back, looks to be coming out of the pits. He's be glad to see King in the pits at the same time, so they're going to try and do 14 laps to see this one out. Jesper Fay deciding the softs aren't going to do it. King taking a chance on softs, so Jesper Fay on mediums. Ivan Beloff has gone on to hard tyres, and Jet is the only other hard tyre runner at this point. So with the lack of a safety car, those hard tyres will take a lap or 2 to come up to temperature, and then of course you can really push those tyres they'll run all night long. JJ Dog nice and close behind Slimmy Cam here for the final points paying position at this stage. JJ Dog 7 lap old mediums against Slimmy Cam's slightly older ones. JD Bailey says the softs can probably do 15 at full race pace. Yeah, so some of these drivers are going to be right on the edge depending on their driving style and how much battling they have to do. Of course, how much running offline to get by other drivers. Not the ideal strategy, it doesn't appear tonight. Seikel drops down as he pits. Finally on lap 22, what a long run he's had on those tyres. Maciek promoted to 6th as he goes on by the pit straight, so he'll be relatively happy to see that at the moment. JJ Dog with the DRS. We've got the car in front derating, moving around under braking, makes more than one move before they hit the braking zone. Round the outside he goes. That becomes, of course, the inside for turn 2. That'll pick up a warning, no doubt, for corner cutting, but maybe he thinks it's worth it. Here comes Jesper Fay yet again, though, making progress in battling. What a great couple of times Jesper Fay's managed to do that, get by the other drivers. Slimmy Cam fails to get out of the way of the Aston Martin's rear right wheel, and costs himself a little bit of momentum. King gets by into P10, so all kicking off down here at the foot of the top 10. King now on the offensive, trying to get by JJ Dog. Had a great run through the S's on the new soft tyres, just moves over a little bit too early, but thankfully no major drama caused. JJ Dog will drop back as he's in defensive mode against the Mercedes behind him, but he's just close enough, is he? No, I'm not sure he is just close enough to get DRS, so that should leave JJ Dog pretty vulnerable here. Somehow or other he got DRS, even though it looked for all the world like he wouldn't. Oh, what an unpleasant move there from JJ Dog, moving across to discourage a move from Ivan Beloff. Slimmy Cam and JJ Dog battle. The places exchanged over and over again, but it's here he goes again. A late block coming from Slimmy Cam, sorry, from JJ Dog. I'm not sure that he'll avoid a visit to the stewards. It certainly looked like he was driving Ivan Beloff, blocking him after Ivan had made his move. So Ivan currently down to 16th as a result. Edzak now up to 13th, unless I got those the AlphaTauri drivers the wrong way round, but I think Ivan Beloff has lost out, unable to fight on those hard tyres. Murphy and Jet, the Alpine pairing, back up to 4th and 5th now, and they'll be hoping Supermug and Pachuca will not make the end of this race on those medium tyres, or if they do, that then they're not going to be very quick. Big gaps at the front as they settle into their best race management mode. King gets by Jesper Fay and gets a fastest lap at the same time. King up to P8, new softs for him, so keep an eye on King Seikel for those pit stop for those fastest laps. Maciek still hasn't pitted. He's just lost out to his teammate Bangst, so it looks like Maciek trying to get as far and deep into this race as possible, but you wonder maybe whether he's left it a lap too late for the soft tyres. Time will tell. Time will tell. Murphy still running without a penalty, and absolutely GG for that. Let's go back while we talk about penalties. You can see just how many drivers have complicated this race significantly. Supermug may argue that he can get one of those 5-second that 5-second penalty removed. I didn't unfortunately see how it came about. If you did see Supermug's issue, whoa, Supermug with a problem. Has he gone in the pits, or is he just fighting with Pachuca? No, yeah, pit stops for Supermug and Pachuca as they drop down. That promotes Murphy up to P2, who should be pitted to the end on medium tyres if he can get away with that run of 20 laps. His teammate 4 seconds behind him, and Pangrio also, all on the same strategy. And now Supermug, Pachuca and King with a lot to do. Supermug from the lead just then, and from a second position start, Supermug is currently 13 seconds off the lead, but with penalties. We've got a yellow flag in the... Oh, it's in the pit straight, thankfully. Looks like a voluntary retirement from Ivan Beloff there, maybe picking up some damage, potentially. Supermug just trying to get by Banks, who needs to hold up these drivers to help out Maciek, who's just pitted a little bit later in the race. Supermug, look how close he is. This is going to leave him picking up penalties if he makes the slightest error, but he's stayed very close. Looks like he's going to be forced to the outside from Maciek. Will he get by? Yes, he will. Oh, Pachuca trying to get 2 for 1. And he's got the inside line here, slightly over that apex in the stadium. He might just avoid a warning there. That Pangrio leads. What a run Pangrio's had tonight. But Murphy, with great pace, needs to be within 6 seconds, and he's currently 6.3 to take that win off Pangrio. So Pangrio knows the situation. He knows what his target is. Banks in the pits and dropping back now. Will he come out ahead of his teammate? I wonder. We'll see as the drivers come on by. I think that should be everybody pitted to the end unless the mediums don't make it. 9 laps to go then. I think most drivers will manage that, maybe not Miguel. Speaking of Miguel and J-Dog, Miguel looking quicker at the moment for that final points paying position. Banks did get out ahead of Maciek, 2 seconds their gap. Supermug gets by, or is fighting with Jet at least, in the middle of the S's. Supermug on those brand new softs, but Jet doesn't need to fight too heavily here, because he will have tyres at the end of the race, and possibly Supermug will not. But the track getting quicker, the cars getting lighter, should open up that strategy for these soft runners. Supermug is caught by 2 seconds Jet within, I think, a lap. So let's see how close he can get up to Murphy as well. Murphy's still hovering around that crucial 6-second mark to Pangrio ahead. They're on virtually identical strategies. They're on the same formula of tyres at least. Pachuca with DRS maxing out. Top speed, not quite getting the overspeed, but I think just getting by the Alpine. So Jet down to 5th, and now has 2 cars between him and his teammate. King next up, coming up behind him. J-Dog has retired. Where has he retired? In the pits, thankfully, so we shouldn't get a safety car for that one. Looks like Pachuca on a push lap. He's just got fastest first sector, and Murphy still 6.1 seconds, just outside the ability to win this race. As he starts to close in as well, it's going to hover around that, I think, for a little while. Supermug took a second out of Murphy in one sector, but his pace advantage will run out soon, but Murphy's tyres will do the same. So a yellow flag in sector 1 sees, I think, an Aston Martin touring slowly out of the pits. Kaizachi in the pits. Obviously those tyres weren't going to make the end, so he pits for soft tyres into P16. Fastest lap for Pachuca is 16.570, and I think the pace of fastest lap times is very close between the drivers. Yeah, nice and tight there. That 16.5 is a good 3/10 faster than Supermug's fastest. Black Wolf gets a penalty now. Let's keep an eye, see if Pangrio, Supermug, crucially Murphy, get any more penalties, as Pachuca very, very close now behind Supermug. Of course, this will be completely messed around with penalties. I don't know whether Supermug will try and get a penalty lifted. We'll have to see midweek in the stewards. No one said anything different in the chat. They didn't see how he got that one. Obviously, if it's a speeding in the pit lane issue, then he definitely won't get any reprieve on that score. Supermug now 8/10 behind Murphy, has caught him very, very quickly. Murphy on a conservation run, Supermug on new tyres. His target though is to stay within range of Pangrio, and he's just dropping out slightly. A little bit of DRS might help if you can let these cars by. Yeah, gets overtaken quite comfortably into turn 1 on lap 30. 6 to go, guys. 6 to go. Will Murphy hang on and not cop a penalty for the whole race? And if so, I think he'll be getting my driver of the day. Pangrio in first currently from near the back of the grid. He, J-Dog and Ivan Beloff all started at the back, but it's Pangrio still running. The other two have DNF'd or retired in the pits at least, and could not make a last to first challenge work. Pangrio looks like he will do very well indeed. Supermug though, he needs a 3-second difference to the car in front. Murphy needs to stay with Supermug. Pachuca will be right out of the penalty of the podium positions as we finish this race off. Lap 30 sees Pangrio from the back of the grid leading by nearly 5 seconds to Supermug, Pachuca and Murphy. King on a 12-second penalty collection in 5th will not hold on to that one, with Jet in 6th, Jesper Fay in 7th, Seikel, Edzak and Banks, but the penalties are far too complicated to try and work out for you until they get closer to the line, because they can always add more penalties in the run. Kaizachi looking like he might be about to get lapped from Pangrio here. Seikel gets by Jesper Fay into P7 on the road at least, and this is your second place driver, closely followed by Pachuca. Kaizachi, there we go, another warning as he's almost ready to be lapped. Murphy cannot stay with Pachuca and Supermug at this point in the race. Remember, Murphy on mediums to the end, his teammate Jet on hards to the end, but it's all about those penalties that have been accrued so far and how that they will feature in the final standing. Supermug almost within target of Pangrio. Pangrio losing out there. I think Pangrio had a problem in the stadium, or the third sector at least. He lost a big amount of time to Kaizachi ahead as well. So Pangrio with an error, leaving him highly vulnerable to Supermug. And Pachuca, as I say, on his way on by Supermug now. That's going to slow down this progress. Pachuca really with zero chance to be on the podium tonight, you fancy, but getting involved and getting in the way of Supermug's challenge. Supermug needing 3 seconds of a difference to Pangrio. Pangrio needs to start stretching that now, but he's on old mediums, while these drivers on roughly half-life softs. Jesper Fay and Seikel continue to battle. They've seen each other plenty this race. Jesper Fay hanging on to that DRS zone. Miguel, another penalty for Miguel, down there with 24 seconds of accrued penalties. Kaizachi 18, Maciek 20. I don't know what's going on with the Ferrari drivers tonight. It's most out of character for them. So 4 laps to go as Pangrio is about to cross the line. Has dropped another 1.5 seconds to Pachuca on that lap alone. Pangrio obviously struggling hugely, and this has massive connotations for how the race will finish. Supermug gets by Pachuca and can see Pangrio ahead and wants that DRS ability. Murphy now 6 back behind Pachuca. I wonder if these softs are going to drop off a cliff, or whether in fact it'll be Murphy and Pangrio whose tyres cry enough beforehand. A yellow flag in the S's could buy some time. Looks like we've got Giroud has spilled it somehow. Let's see if we can see from the perspective of Kaizachi, and that massively changes the race, as that just brought it towards Murphy. I can't see Giroud's car, but the drivers will not thank Giroud for spilling it right at the end of the race. Unfortunately, Giroud now out of the race. Kaizachi's got by, and that means that our drivers will presumably all come in for fresh softs and give up their track position Pangrio has the first right to decide whether he's coming in or not. And naturally he does. Supermug is going to stay out. Wow, Pangrio giving up that track position. What does Murphy decide to do? Of course, a nice, easy decision, you would think. But no, he's staying out too. So Pangrio jumps first. And in fact, no one else is going with him into the pits. Fascinating. Pangrio gives up a potential win, expecting everybody to follow him in. And so far, nobody has. A little fake out there from Edzak. Banks and Magic go on by as well. I think they're expecting a single lap run to the end, and with the safety car needing to arrive through. But wow, Pangrio with a pit stop, and no one else goes with him. I'm not sure I've ever seen that at the end. Giroud complaining that he brought the safety car out and nobody else did. He's claiming that he's made the race more interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to buy that, because honestly we've had plenty to talk about throughout this one. I've seen far more boring races than this one, I have to say. Miguel down in 15th. Pangrio came out of the pits in 6th. But how far into this race will the safety car go? I think, it's coming in to see 2 laps. So that appears to be the cutoff, because it's most unnatural a time to come in given the field spread. But we're going to go. Murphy in 3rd, has to stay within 3 seconds of Supermug in the lead here. And Pachuca, a little bit of DRS is going to help the guys all condense. Yeah, JD Bailey says he thinks it's been an entertaining race. So do I. Might be sour grapes from Giroud, possibly. And Pangrio on the tail already of Jet. Brand new softs, remember, for Pangrio, and he'll be driving with his tail up, with all the grip in the world. Be going for fastest lap, left, right, and centre. Although he's a little bit blocked here into turn 1. Will there be an accident? Yes, there will. Jet with contact with King. Jet turns round, and that's going to ruin the race. There was going to be a really good race result here for the drivers in the Alpine team collectively. Murphy still in 3rd though, and in with a shout of a strong podium finish. 15 seconds now Pachuca has collected, and it's honestly very little point even battling here. Pangrio going and challenging King. Pangrio, again, as I say, all the grip in the world, decisively moving across, but that forces King across the track, and he wipes out one of the marker boards in the S's. Pangrio up to 4th, but with 11 seconds of penalties, won't be able to do anything about Murphy overall. Murphy, much older tyres, is slipping back. Perhaps a little bit of a slipstream with Pangrio might even help him here to try and stay with the leaders. Pangrio could do a favour here to Murphy, and Murphy with the top speed, slight advantage even on Pangrio. Look, he's actually pulling away because of the lack of DRS. Pachuca wants to push Supermug right to the end. We're on the final lap, and it's all going to happen on this one, if it's going to happen at all. Let's look at the gap to leader. Murphy is just within range. He just needs to hang on here, and he needs Pachuca to do him a favour by challenging and pushing Supermug into another error or another penalty. Supermug 3 seconds of penalties. He just needs a 3-second gap to Murphy, and it's almost there. In fact, it is. Can they navigate these last few corners? We're in the middle of the lap, of the final lap. Murphy 3.2 seconds. He's very close with King behind him. Murphy trying to hold on. Supermug 0.4 of a second ahead of these guys on the road, but he will drop back. He just needs to hold the car together to see this race out famously. So Supermug on the line, and I think in reality, Supermug wins the Mexican Grand Prix at Ero F3, the 15th round of the season. Congratulations to him. Murphy, a brilliant drive up to 2nd place with 0 penalties, manages to recover that one. Pangrio with a podium from a last to podium challenge. and successfully checked that one off, but not helping his second place in the championship with a third place particularly. Jesper Fay in fourth, Edzak in fifth, Pachuca gets sixth after all those penalties. Then Slimmy Cam, King, Cykel and NRG Jet demoted to 10th after an accident right at the death. Fastest lap goes, oh dear, I'm going to struggle to read that one. But I personally think that was pretty breathless, pretty good race. I enjoyed that one immensely. I hope you all did too. Pangrio gets the official driver of the day. I'm going to give it, from my perspective, to Murphy for a really good race. But 1, 2, 3, 4 punches from the winner, Supermug, who held on just to the very end, despite the 3 seconds of penalties. Murphy, a brilliant second place for Alpine, and Pangrio gets a podium at the end. I don't think he's very happy about it, but yeah, P7 driver's very happy with his day's work. I think Murphy's pretty happy too. So Supermug takes the win in the Mexican Grand Prix with a single safety car right at the end. Murphy comes in second with a good strong drive. Then Pangrio from 16th on the grid up to the podium. Jesper Fay, Edzak, Pachuca, Slimmy Cam, King, Cykel and Jet. Jet guest starring tonight for a single World Championship point, unfortunately, and there. Matchek and Banks, a pointless race. Pointless for the poles, it looks like, in a row there, 11th, 12th and 13th, and Kaizachi, Giroud, JJ Dog, Ivan Beloff and Miguel all out of the race. I think Kaizachi was classified, but it was Giroud's accident right at the end that messed up everybody's run. Slimmy Cam, it was very happy with his drive to date, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that one. Do like the video, do subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends if you can, and follow us on Twitter. The links to the Twitter handles are at the top of the live chat tonight. But I've had a good session with you all. Thanks for watching the ERO Season 6 Round 15 race around the Mexico City track. I've been Webo Red 5, and I will catch you on the next race day.